Your week. So today you guys are going to have me for almost the next 2 hours, and we are going to be speaking about everything coronavirus again due to technical bloopers, you could say. We are doing a repeat show, but with some updated information. And then for the second half of the show, we are going back to Brexit. So we are going to be talking about everything to do with those topics right now. So make sure you guys don't go anywhere because I will be back in about two.
Online on the iOS and Android, on your mobile phones. Great speakers conversation around the globe. This is Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours. And let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
Relax Radio.
So, welcome back, guys. Happy to be here with you, and hopefully, you're happy to join me. So, as I said before, hopefully, you guys have had a great start to your week and had a good Monday besides this coronavirus news, right? And before we get into Corona and all things to do with Brexit, so it's starting to get a little bit chilly outside. For me, it's the temperature has definitely started to drop. I know this is not as cold as it's going to get, but it's time to start bringing out those tights and start time to really start bringing out those winter jackets. And if you don't have one, maybe try and go purchase one before another lockdown is imposed upon us. And it's also been pretty rainy today as well. So, yeah, also a reason to start bringing those umbrellas out. And if you guys were able to, I did a Facebook Live yesterday, and the topic was New Year's is cancelled, but the new you isn't. And basically, the message of the show was yet again talking about Corona. So, coronavirus has come in and shut down New Year's as well. And I was basically saying that there were some people who were sick and tired of Corona way earlier in the year. Then there were those people when they found out that Notting Hill Carnival was cancelled because of Corona. That's when they really got sick and tired. That was like enough is enough. If Corona is cancelling Carnival, then this has just gone way too far. And I've been feeling fairly um I wouldn't say the word is comfortable. It's the word doesn't come into my head right now, but I've been managing. I've been managing with the situation of this year. But now that coronavirus is canceling New Year's, which literally is my second favorite day to celebrate after my birthday. Now I'm like, this has gone too far. This has gone way too far. So, are you guys really sick and tired of hearing everything to do with Corona and the length of time it's been going on? Well, go on to our Facebook page and put your comments, put your views, put your experiences and your opinions there, and we will check you out and we will get interactive with you guys. So, that's definitely what we want to do. We want to find out what you guys are thinking. And in regards to the new you, so most people, the majority of people, make New Year's resolutions, or a lot of people, that might be a more accurate statement. A lot of people make New Year's resolutions, and for me personally, I always start thinking about my next year goals towards the latter part of the year before. So the you know the burr months, so September, October, November, December, that's when those things kind of start coming into mind for me, even though, as I said, this has been an extraordinary year for everyone. So you may feel that your usual habits and your usual mental strength and tenacity has fallen just because of the emotional trauma and the mental trauma that the entire planet has been going through this year. But even in the midst of these kind of storms, we should still try to focus some of our energy on the things that we would like to achieve and the goals that we'd like to strive after and the dreams that we would like to make a reality, even though progress may be significantly slowed down. Slow progress is better than no progress. And I just literally, it just came to me now. I just realized I didn't do my quote of the week for you guys last week. But that saying right there, that's going to be the quote for today. And that is going to be the quote for the week. Slow progress is better than no progress. And sometimes I feel as though we as a collective, and sometimes definitely me as an individual, we don't give ourselves enough credit for the small steps that we are taking towards achieving our goals. Of course, we want things to happen as fast as possible. We have this desire to have instant gratification, but sometimes your talent can take you places that your character may not be able to keep you. So sometimes that slow burn is definitely something that can actually work in your favor, even though we need to delay gratification. So I would just encourage myself, encourage everyone out there to keep taking those steps forward and to give yourself the opportunity to, go back, write down your goals, reflect on this year, see if you were able to achieve anything which you planned at the beginning of the year. And if you didn't get to hit all those goals, put them onto next year's to do list. And yeah, just move forward in becoming the best version of yourself that you can. So I feel like I'm at a stage where I'm trying to pull things back together in terms of being more disciplined and being more focused in achieving my goals and achieving my dreams. So, moving on from that, we are now on to this show is going to be called Updated Corona, C- Government Guidance, Tears, and Christmas. So this sounds very similar to last week, right? So this is a slight repeat show. So as I said before, due to technical bloopers, you can call it, s- um, last week's show needs to be redone because it wasn't uploaded onto our studio database. So hopefully you guys are going to bear with me. Some of this may be repeated information for those of you who tuned in last week, but for those who are new here today or are coming back after a little while or whatever the case may be, this will be new information for you. And as I said, this is going to have some updated information in there because I have just been told um, by one of my fellow studio colleagues that it has been announced just a little while ago that we are going into tier three. So, what exactly does that mean? So, we are going to go to the government website. I'm going to go to the government website and we are going to pull up the official guidance which the government has on its website for what exactly is going on at the moment and what do all these tiers mean. So, the usual thing, the usual advice from the government, right, is hands, face, and space. So, recommendation is to be washing your hands regularly, which we should really all be doing anyway. We've touched on this before. and then face masks. We're all becoming accustomed to the face mask, right? So that's another recommendation. And then after that, it's going to be the social distancing. So keeping that 2 meters apart from your fellow human being to protect them for their safety, right? So why has the government introduced these tiers? They've said it is to control, of course, the spread of coronavirus in particular areas of the country where they feel that it is spreading rapidly or there's high numbers of cases. And we came out of lockdown on the 2nd of December 2020, and the review was supposed to be 2 weeks later, technically the 16th of December 2020. But after today's announcement, it seems that's come a bit early, right? A couple of days early. And they've already decided that we do need to go into tier 3. So we started off officially, we are in tier 2 now. And we are going to be going into the most severe tier, which is tier 3. So we're going to discuss the tiers today, what exactly they mean, and basically how it's fully affecting our lives. So, an overview is the 3 tiers. The 3 tiers are medium alert, which is tier 1. Tier 2 is high alert, and tier 3 is very high alert. So, there's not even a low alert in any of these. It's either medium high or very high, which is slightly discouraging, right? But let's get into the tiers. So, what applies to all 3 of the tiers and applies to everyone? Wearing the face mask in most indoor settings, unless there is an exemption. That you can attend school and colleges as normal unless there is a necessity to be in self isolation. This also applies to universities as well, and some early years settings, so certain nurseries and things such as that. The recommendation is to walk as much as possible and cycle as much as possible to avoid traveling at busy times and on busy routes if possible. And of course, to work at home if that is an option within the kind of job that you do or within your profession. And just stopping there for a moment as well, for those of you who have had the opportunity to now change to working from home, how has that been for you? Has that been an improvement in your quality of life? Or do you actually prefer going into the office? Do you like going into an office setting or an outdoor setting? Or do you prefer working from home? So, would love to hear your views and opinions, guys. As I said, please go to Facebook and put your comments there. And just to shout out at the moment, we're also on some other social media platforms, including YouTube and Twitter, and I believe a few others. So, do some digging around, and you can also download our Relax Radio app. And of course, tell a friend. So, continuing on. So, those are the things that applied to all 3 tiers. And basically, those are the things that are probably going to be in place for the foreseeable future, no matter what. But when we get into the individual tiers now, there are going to be certain differences and variations. So, starting with tier 1, which we already said is medium alert. So, this is where there is a rule of 6. Um, and that means you can socialize with up to 6 people, either indoors or outdoors. Business venues are to remain open, and others will remain closed, such as nightclubs. And believe that is something that applies to all the tiers as well, but we'll find out as we go along a little bit more. So, in regards to hospitality businesses, so those selling food or drink which can be consumed on their premises that alcohol can be served provided that there is table service, and venues are to be closed between the hours of 11 p.m. and 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. And that includes things such as airport venues, ports, and transport services and motorway services as well. And last orders are at 10. So if you want to go out and you want to have a little bit of a good time for a short period of time, make sure you're putting in those orders before 10 p.m. because everything is to be closed by 11. Then there's other restrictions on outdoor and indoor events where they're going to be lowering the capacity of those venues. Places of worship are allowed to remain open, but yet again, the rule of six applies, and you cannot be socializing in groups bigger than 6 people. In regards to weddings and funerals, these are allowed to go ahead with up to 15 people in attendance for weddings, ceremonies, and receptions, 30 people in attendance for funeral ceremonies, and 15 people can attend for a commemorative event. And in fact, that reminds me of possibly 11/11, right? So that would be something that would be classed as a commemorative event. And I think I said this last week. I'm so proud of myself for being able to pronounce that word without tripping over. And next, outdoor sport, physical activities, and exercise classes can continue. So, for all those who are active out there and gym goers and still trying to keep fit, that will be a positive one for you. And at that point, we have finished medium alert. And so after the break, after this short break, we are going to be dealing with high alert, which is tier two, what we're in right now and about to transition out of. So I'm going to put you guys on a short break and I will be back in about 2 minutes.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292 আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours. And let the happiness continue on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media-related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaksmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Radio.
Welcome back, guys. Hopefully, you can hear me. Sorry, it seemed that the button wasn't working right there, but seems that we figured it out. So, I was also going to mention as well, I've got some really cool shows coming up for you guys. Some really great guests supposedly coming into the studio. So, I'm looking forward to doing those shows, and I will be keeping you guys posted about when those will be and what those shows will be. So, I am looking forward to it, and I'm just putting you guys on notice. So hopefully you will be looking forward to it as well. So today, in fact, I'm keeping my jacket on in the studio, feeling a little bit cold. As I said, that temperature has been dropping, and yeah, I've got some green tea just waiting for me outside the studio. So that was there to just warm me up a little bit. So in respective of this coronavirus, of course, people can just be, having normal coughs and colds and feeling a bit run down, and your immune system is a bit low. So just make sure you are just taking that extra time out to look after yourself. You deserve it. L'Oreal style. You're worth it. So take that time out, look after yourself, and do all those good things which are gonna put you in a good space and help you to fight off anything, including corona, which may be floating around. And in fact, I may do an individual show on this, that people are dealing, not only is corona going on the planet at the moment, which is the biggest thing in the history of most people who are alive on this planet at this time, but people are also going through things just in life in general. Life is still happening even though corona is here. And there are secondary effects. We've touched on these as well because of corona as well. So, there can be just other issues with your health, and there can also be um, issues with education or your career progression, which could be related to corona. Obviously, we know that employment figures have skyrocketed since this pandemic has taken place. And as I said, so it could be to do with that, or it could be to do with something else. It could also be issues with family, issues with friends, issues with lovers or husbands and wives. So, all of these types of issues are continuing throughout this lockdown that we're going through, and this COVID-19 situation that we're dealing with at the moment. So, as I said, maybe I will do an individual show about things outside of Corona. So, bringing things back to today's show, we are now on to tier two, which is high alert. And this is the tier we are supposedly currently going to remain in for the next 2 days until we escalate this region of the country into tier three. So, tier two, so what applies right now. So, we are not supposed to be socializing. This is coming back to the rule of six again, with anyone who does not live with us or who is not in our support bubble in any indoor setting. And yet again, we must not be socializing in up to more than six people in a group. And this also includes the garden, your personal private garden, or public spaces. Businesses and venues can continue to operate. However, nightclubs must remain closed. As I said, that is something that was applicable in tier one as well. So, the nightclub industry, the clubbing industry, the partying industry, the raving industry has taken a massive hit because of this pandemic. And I have a prediction. I have a feeling that things are gonna be more home based when it comes to entertainment. What do you guys think? I feel that because I haven't been out for the longest to a venue, a party venue, or anything like that. That would have been way earlier in the year, and I don't know when I would plan on going back after this pandemic, because yeah, there's just some skepticism to going back into such, I guess, such crowded places and different things like that. And so, as I said, the wave of the house parties and drink ups is now back in fashion. They never completely died off, but they were not as popular for a little while, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys have a different take on that, but they definitely seem to be on the increase because of this current situation. So where else are we? So we spoke about those nightclubs. It says pubs and bars must close unless operating as a restaurant. Hospitality venues can only serve alcohol with substantial meals. Yeah. So substantial meals, alcohol can be served. And yet again, that's another industry which has taken a massive hit during this pandemic. And as before, last orders will be at 10 and venues must be closed by 11 p.m. until 5 a.m. And and yeah, we're continuing on from there. I'm just reading through, guys, to make sure that I'm getting some of this right. So some of these hospitality venues will just be doing delivery service, click and collect, and drive through. So those out there who still need that Big Mac and that strawberry milkshake can go and get that. Same thing with public venues, um, or indoor and outdoor venues and events. There will be a limit on the capacity at these places, and places of worship will remain open, but yet again, you will not be able to socialize with people from outside of your household or your support bubble unless there are exemptions. Weddings and funerals can go ahead, and the numbers are the same as I mentioned previously. So, weddings and funerals can go ahead, but with the restrictions on the number of attendees. And I do feel so bad for anyone who was planning their wedding around this time, you know, especially those ladies out there. You spend so much time and effort just probably thinking about your big day and trying to make it perfect. And then here comes coronavirus to absolutely just put a damper on your day. But the most important thing is the marriage and not necessarily the wedding. So the most important thing is that you are marrying the right person. So try to keep what is really important in mind. So let's see if we have anything else to discuss about tier two. And that seems to be the majority of it. So indoor sports, physical activity, and exercise classes will still be permitted to go ahead as long as there is an avoidance of mixing with people you do not live with. So that will be recommended. And that pretty much sums it up for tier two. So I am going to go on a short break now. It does go pretty quickly, but I will be back on the last part of this show for the first half of the show, Soul Seed, to discuss tier three, the tier that we are going to be going into on Wednesday. So make sure you stay tuned, at least come back for that in about 2 minutes.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন অন 020 7474 9292। আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours. And let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio.
It has been too long. No one has taken the initiative to know who you are and what you do. Well, Relax proudly presents Relax Media to unite and expose all media related personalities under one umbrella. If you are an artist or maybe you're looking for one, look no further. Log on to www.relaxmedia.com, RELAKS media.com. In return, you get a free webpage and exposure to wider fan appreciation and contacts. Also, optional personal manager. Don't delay.
Relax Radio.
Hey guys, welcome back to the last part of the first half. So, where were we? We are going to be talking about tier three now. So, this is very high alert. Those who have been given the authority to decide whether things are at a dangerous point for us at the moment as a country have made the decision that we are to go into tier three, which means that R rate, that reproduction rate of coronavirus is not going down and cases are increasing. So, this is the most severe tier. So, what applies in this category? Here, you are not allowed to socialize indoors or in most outdoor places with people you do not live with or who are not in your support bubble. This includes, yet again, your private garden and at most outdoor venues. Worst case scenario, you must not socialize with a group of more than 6 people in any outdoor setting, including parks, benches, or beaches, the countryside, public gardens, or sports facilities. Yet again, the rule of six. Hospitality venues such as bars and shisha venues, pubs, cafes, restaurants are closed. So they will be closed. They will not be open. And some will be permitted to continue sales by takeaway, click and collect, drive through, or delivery services. So even in tier three, you guys, if you need to, you can still go get that McDonald's. And accommodation. So hotels, B&Bs, campsites, guest houses will be closed. There will be a few exemptions for this, such as when it's reasonably necessary for work or education and training. Indoor entertainment and tourist venues will be closed, and this will include casinos, bingo halls, indoor play centers, and areas including trampoline parks and soft play bowling alleys, bingo halls, skating rings, amusement arcades, and adult gaming centers. Laser Quest, I think I mentioned this last week, and I've missed Laser Quest. I haven't done that for years, and I think it'd be really fun. So when it finally does open back up, hopefully I will go and take advantage of that. Cinemas, theaters, concert halls, and snooker halls will be closed. So we're just being teased with the freedom at the moment, really. Getting a little freedom and then having it taken away, and then getting a little bit again and then having it taken away. It's Yeah, it's a very testing and interesting time that we are living in. Other things that will be closed as well are things such as public toilets and also other indoor attractions such as zoos and safari parks, wildlife reserves, aquariums, visitor attractions at farms and other animal attractions, museums, galleries, sculpture parks, botanical gardens, greenhouses, other types of theme parks, fairgrounds, and fun fairs. There will be no fun. And landmarks including observation decks and viewing platforms. Leisure and sports facilities may continue to stay open. And I am grateful for that because that gym routine needs to get cranked up at the moment, right? So that also ties in with your new year, new you, and keeping yourself in a healthy space mentally and physically. And there'll be no attendances to s- sports events or indoor performances, and large business events will not take place. Elite sports events may continue to take place without spectators. So I basically take that as there'll be football, but there'll be no fans in the stadium. Places of worship are allowed to remain open, but yet again, you must not socialize with anyone outside of your household or your support bubble. Weddings and funerals can still go ahead, and with the same number restrictions as the previous two tiers. And I would also say as well, in regards to funerals, that is so emotionally distressing because you have a loved one who's passed away, or someone who was important to you or had a significant impact in your life, and you may not be an immediate family member, but there may be many people who would like to come and pay their respects to the person who has passed away. And then with these restrictions, people may not get the opportunity to be able to do that, which is really quite sad. And then continuing on, it's just recommended that you reduce the number of journeys you make wherever possible, which I think is something that's being recommended across all the tiers, really and truly. But I guess it applies even more to tier 3. And then it has exemptions from gathering limits in all tiers as part of a single household or a support bubble. So that's a exemption from the limits for work or providing voluntary or charitable services, including in other people's homes. There's exemptions for childcare, education, and training as well. Supervised activities provided for children, including children's playgrounds and activities for under 18-year-olds, formal support groups, and parent and child groups as well. allowing contacts between birth parents and children in care, as well as siblings in care. Arrangements where children do not live in the same household as both their parents or guardians. Prospective adopting parents to meet children or the child that they may be placed with. For birth partners, so ladies out there who are pregnant, I believe you can still have your birth partner there to support you, thank goodness. To see people who are terminally ill or at the end of their lives. Weddings and civil partnerships, however, the limit will be 15 people at the most. To provide emergency assistance, to avoid injury or illness, or to escape a risk of harm, to fulfill a legal obligation such as attending court or jury service. So it seems that those court cases are still going to be going ahead, providing care or assistance to someone vulnerable, or to provide respite for a carer, to facilitate moving homes. And there we are in regards to the tiers, that which applies to all of the tiers, and also the exemptions which apply to the tiers as well. Now, during this part, I am going to touch on making your Christmas bubble. So we know Christmas is under threat, which I know that most people or a lot of people out there are concerned about. Christmas can be quite a big occasion for some people, and they really take that time to have those big family Christmases and see family and friends that they haven't seen for a while. However, I'm more disappointed about New Year's. So basically, we are given that short 5 day window, which is from the 23rd of December to the 27th of December, where you can form an exclusive Christmas bubble. But here you can do up to three households. You can only be in one Christmas bubble. And once you're in, you can't get out. So be very careful who you decide to make your Christmas bubble with. You don't want to be having a miserable Christmas. Is supposed to be a happy Christmas, even though we are in these circumstances at the moment. So let's see if the government website has anything particular here for me to mention. So, childcare, reasonably necessary childcare will be allowed during this time. So, for those of you with children out there, you will still, or you should still be able to get the support that you need. University students, you are allowed to come home. You don't have to stay away for Christmas. You're not excluded. So, you'll be able to form that Christmas bubble with your family over that period. And it says prior to forming your Christmas bubble, really reduce any unnecessary contact. So basically going into a period of isolation for up to 2 weeks before. So you should almost you should really be doing that now. Doing your self isolation basically to limit your contacts with as many people as possible, and you can meet your Christmas bubble indoors because it'll be a bit weird having Christmas outside, while, especially whilst it's winter as well. And of course, they're doing the usual recommendations of hands, face, and space. Um, you're also allowed to meet your Christmas bubble outdoors as well, and outdoor public places can include parks and bench beaches, and the countryside, which is open to the general public, public gardens, allotments, and playgrounds. Let me just double check. Yep, that's accurate. So you can meet your Christmas bubble indoors or outdoors as well. And remember, it's up to three households. That is still a restriction. If you choose not to form a Christmas bubble, then you should follow the rules within your local area. So if you're spending Christmas alone, or you're spending it in a shared property or something like that, continue to follow the rules of the tier which you or your area are in. And if you fall into the clinically extremely vulnerable category, then you should be very cautious about having visits or forming a social or forming a Christmas bubble with someone if you fall into that category. And then there are certain recommendations when it comes to care homes as well. So basically, just being mindful and limiting visits as much as possible over this period. Not that I don't, it's not that they can't take place at all, but just remember that people within care homes, sometimes they are vulnerable. So sometimes it could be best to stay away in certain situations. So you can travel and have overnight stays with your Christmas bubble as well, which of course is necessary. And then after meeting your Christmas bubble, then you should also reduce your contact with people for a period after, and go into that form of self isolation again, and work from home, continue working from home if you can, and do that social distancing. So that is some of the recommendations for from the government during this time. And then I did mention last week that New Year's was cancelled, and I also discussed it in a bit more detail yesterday. So basically, when it comes to New Year's, we're just going to be in usual lockdown. Apologies there. We're just going to be in usual lockdown and or usual tiers, and there's going to be no exceptions for New Year's. So Christmas will be the only real respite that you get. So make the most of your 5 days whilst you can. And let's see if the government has anything more to say to us before I conclude the first half of this show. So yeah, remember, carol singing is pretty much banned. You could pretty much say it's banned. So there will be no caroling this year, which is quite sad. It reminds me of when I used to be in primary school and we used to go out and do little shows around the local area. So we won't be seeing those happy little children's faces doing their carol singing this year. And as I said, as I'm flicking through, it's most of the stuff that I've gone through with you guys. So if you want to go and check out some of these publications and articles yourself, it is on the government website. Put in local restrictions, put in Christmas, and put in cancelled New Year's, and it should take you through to the correct page. So, yes, that concludes the first half of the show, which was updated corona, government guidance, tears, and Christmas. And so I did a bit of a wordplay on tears there. When I said tears in the title of the show, it's spelled Tears, which is a bit of a play on the word tears, which we're in, which is Tiers. So, yes, please go and check out the show. Put your comments there on our Facebook video history, and don't go anywhere because I am going to be back talking about Brexit on the other side of this. So I will be back shortly. See you soon. This has been your girl and your host, Kayla Rose. Welcome to, or thank you for joining me on another episode of Soul Seed, the show which is dedicated to taking you to new levels of you. And as usual, much love and stay blessed. Now I will see you soon.
Relax Radio. Whoa, relax radio.
আপনি হয়তোবা জানেন না যে রেডিও অ্যাডভার্টাইজমেন্ট ইজ 4 times more powerful than any other media. রিল্যাক্স রেডিওতে যদি অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করতে চান তাহলে আমাদেরকে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন on 020-7474-9292 আমাদের সাথে অ্যাডভার্টাইজ করুন from £99 a month. Increase your business by advertising on Relax Radio.